one and only Judge Shonda D. Stone. Judge Stone, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having
I am your host, T. Wynn.
And I am Anthony Mandigo.
Stop the dissing.
Learn to listen. Like, subscribe, comment. Learn to listen podcast.
Welcome back to Learn and Listen, where we bring you the stories of leaders making an impact in their communities. Today, we have an incredible guest, someone who has dedicated her life to justice, education, and advocacy. She's a trailblazer in Louisiana's legal system, currently serving as an appellate judge for the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. But her journey didn't start there. Before taking the bench, she was a juvenile court judge, a private attorney, and a fierce advocate for children, families, and underserved communities. Beyond the courtroom, she shaped future legal minds as a professor, worked to protect the rights of elderly and disabled, and remains an active force of professional and civic organizations. Oh, and did we mention she's also recognized as Louisiana's CASA's Judge of the Year. Yes, so get ready for an inspiring conversation as we dive into the career, wisdom, and passion of the one and only Judge Shonda D. Stone. Judge Stone, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having
I am your host, T. Wynn.
And I am Anthony Mandigo.
Okay, so we know March 29th is the constitutional election.
right.
So, and we know that number three on the ballot will be addressing the juvenile issue.
Yeah.
And dealing with juveniles, this is just going back over your history. What's the hardest case you had to deal with?
Wow. The hardest case in terms of delinquency or crime involving a child has got to be when a child, I had a case where a child raped a sibling. This is a child who's 12 or 13 who rapes a 5-year-old sibling. And that was rough for me simply because both kids were just that. They were children. And I just didn't understand the mother's agony. You know, a mom who loves both of her children would have to make a decision about protecting one of her babies from the other. That was hard for me. And the kid, you know, the 13-year-old, he knew what he did was wrong. You know, he tried to conceal it. And but for a 13-year-old, there's help. And for a 13-year-old, there is hope. What you don't want it to do is morph into a situation where he's an adult committing heinous crimes against others. That's what you don't want it to morph into. So I mean, that had to be the roughest for me. I mean, you know, for a child's innocence to be taken by an older brother, I mean that's got to be that's rough. That's rough. And it was hell for the mom. It really was. And how do you protect your children from each other? I mean, how does anybody do that? So that probably wasn't the one you were expecting, but that was the worst one for me. But all the cases involving kids and families are troublesome. You know, people do what they know to do, and people often make decisions. We all do. We make decisions based on the best information that we have at the time. Nobody wants to suffer. Nobody wants to live in poverty. You know, we do things, sometimes things that are illegal because we don't know another way. or we're in a situation where our needs are immediate, and the only way we know to do it is to decide we're going to sell dope or just a little bit. We're not really going to get into it. We're just going to, I'm just going to do this for a month, or but it morphs into something else. Usually because we're not built enough brain wise to know that there's another way or a better way, a different way. You see what I'm saying? But again, nothing really separates anybody's experience except really the grace of God.
Well, I know that can be hard for just sitting there thinking about it. Like just say when you go home, just like I had to sentence this guy today or whatever. You have thoughts about all that.
Yeah, I do. I don't sentence anymore. What I do
Yeah,
is I review
the case.
I review the case. So now let's be clear. Let's be perfectly clear. I look right in the camera and say this.
Mm-hmm.
Some people need to be in jail.
Sure.
Some people need to be in prison. Some
I agree.
people need to be separated from other folks. Period.
I agree.
But there's a way to do it. And I believe and I like to see fair sentencing. Like, so lately I've seen a trend where, somebody might get charged with, let's just take, since I was on rape, let's just take a rape charge. Say somebody who is 55 years old, rapes, uh, you know, uh, three kids, in the course of, a year or two, but they're different kids, right?
Mhm.
And I have seen sentences come back like 50 years, 50 years, 50 years on each charge. And because you took a picture of the child, 20 years. So you're not necessarily getting maxed out, but then the judge will order that the sentences be served consecutively. So you have somebody serving 170 years sentence that way. And sometimes I have had to go along with it because it is not an illegal sentence. So I started looking at other things. Are there any mitigating factors? Sometimes, guys, there are just no mitigating factors. If you've just been bad from womb, then I mean, there's nothing for you to give anybody to work with. If you don't have a work history, if you don't, if you're not, and it also depends on when you start engaging in pretty serious crimes. I know in South Louisiana, for example, a lot of this legislation that we're going to see coming up soon is really because young people, especially, are committing, I mean, like 13-year-olds are committing like homicides. I mean, just like, and they have no filter. So it's like, I don't care. Well, they don't. They don't care. But other people don't necessarily see it that way. They see animalistic behavior. They see somebody who is not who is recalcitrant, or somebody who's not looking for forgiveness, or somebody who's sorry for what they've done, just kind of cold and calloused. But if your brain is not developed, you don't get a chance to do that. And trauma plays a lot too. I mean, you know, kids in our community, and that's why I talk to parents all the time. You don't have any children, do you? You do? How many?
Two.
You have two. I mean,
15.
15. Okay, podcast over. I'm dead. Podcast is okay. Let me touch. I'm gonna say. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I was about to say something about kids. Oh, the trauma. The trauma. Um, you don't know. Y'all just don't know what kids go through. They go through.
They go.
They go through hell. They go through hell. And the trauma can start as early as 3 months old. But if you don't have a mechanism to treat that trauma just builds on top, like layers of pain. Trauma builds on top of trauma, on top of trauma, on top of trauma. So these kids they learn how to deal with the trauma. It's not being They're not being counseled. It's not being fixed. It's not being erased. But you just build it on the trauma. So one day when the kid goes out, steals somebody's car, and goes to a liquor store and shoots and kills the little old lady going to the store to get her weekly lottery tickets, everybody's like, "Oh, boy, he needs to be locked up. He needs to be put away." Well, yeah, maybe so, but we need to see why he's
Doing
doing
this.
right.
While doing this.
And so, and the best people to recognize it initially, if it's not the parents, is the teachers. That's why you can say whatever you want to say about school teachers, but those teachers are trying to educate your ill-behaved, bad, whatever you want to call them, bad as barbed wire kids. And they are not there to babysit your children. Hope to accomplish. I'm really interested in your stories because I think you have a lot to offer people who are, especially people who are young. I can learn from anybody, and I like to learn from anybody. But at the end of the day, I need to know what y'all thought about.
Um, I think we kind of came about it just talk.
That's it.
How did y'all meet? So y'all from the same neighborhood or something? How did you there?
Well, I've been knew about Terrence
Okay.
before I got locked up.
Okay.
But I met him in person, then I ain't going.
Okay. Okay.
I'm from Cedar Grove.
Cedar Grove. Okay. Okay. Okay.
From the co-
Yeah. And so,
And we've been locked in ever since.
right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. You need people to, you need people to lift you up.
True that.
If y'all don't lift each other up, you may as well just let this go.
And we do that.
Yeah,
A
and
whole
that's
lot.
important. That's important. That's important. Lift me up and hold me up. That's what I tell my friends. It's like,
Something I don't know, I'm gonna ask. I'm
right.
not ashamed to ask nobody. If something I don't understand, I'm gonna ask
Yeah.
questions.
I think this is a good platform, and I think
Thank you.
people can benefit from
Yeah, what we hope to accomplish is we we want to teach people that's going down the wrong road. We want them to see the legal side of things, and we want them to see some of the guys that just labeled as criminal. We want them to we want their faces to come to light, so that people can understand the wrong road to take. This is the harsh reality that you must suffer. This is what you're gonna go through. We just had in our city, his friend son just got killed, which was an aspiring rapper. And it's like in our city, and not just in our city, in the United States of America, where hip hop is concerned, seems like it's a danger towards black people who are trying to make it. And it seems like a lot of guys and girls, when they succeed, they take the wrong road because people in the hood, they hustle to get out the hood. They ain't hustling to glorify it. They hustling to better their conditions.
right. That's right.
But some people are making it in hip hop, and then they'll start regurgitating the bad habits of people that's trying to get to where they're getting
And
at.
that's not, and they really don't know anything about that life because all they did was rap and got out. My point is, you can, and because of that, rap has gotten a bad name for 50 years. I mean, think about it. Think about it.
I agree.
So I like every genre of music. I don't, I can do some country, I can do some classical, I can do some of all of it. But rap, a lot of times you rap about a life you don't really know. You know what I mean?
That's a
You're
lot.
not really a thug. You went to school. You're not really, you're just rapping to get out. But people like Lil Wayne, he's lived a life. You have a lot of rappers who have lived life. And the thing is, if you're fortunate enough to get out of your situation, why are you hustling backwards? Why are you returning to what you really don't know or really want a part of anyway? You know, we have a lot of talent, but man, we got to think. We got to think. You didn't survive in Angola because you weren't thinking.
Real. Staying in the second circuit. Like they shoot the gun, I would shoot that paperwork.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
Line up. You know.
exactly, exactly. So when did you get out?
I got out August 2023. I went in 2008, March.
And the good thing about it, I played a part of having them come home,
Yeah.
Really?
and I would pick them up.
I thought I never be working. But I had to come out here and get me a job.
Get on the
I
grind.
got to get on the grind. I ain't got no choice.
Right.
If I was working in Angola for 4 cents,
They work for yourself.
yeah, I could work, out here.
Yeah.
You know, when you get through with that check in a week, you ain't got a cent. You ain't got enough to buy a suit.
Right. Right. That's true. That's true.
You can make 60 cents, 30 cents going in your savings, and 30 cents going in your spending account.
Right.
So how can I buy a suit
Right.
or a soap? I can't even buy that.
Can't buy that. So you have to.
But I got to work there.
Right.
Well, I can't work here
Right.
on the freeway.
But see, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. But how can you get other folk to see that? Do you believe that you'll never get caught? I mean, I gotta think that you gotta know your luck gonna run out at some point, right?
I mean, what I say, I'm not dealing with that no more. Once that judge hammered me with that life sentence, 30, 20, 10, it hurt. Ain't
Wait
no
a minute.
way. Ain't no way I'm going
You
back.
got 30, 20, 10.
Joe, what you talking about? Just give me one sentence.
And like,
They give me life first, come back before the 2 years up, before my time limitation was up to get sentenced on the other charge. And I got 30, 20.
Stack consecutive.
No, they ran together.
Oh, concurrent.
we're gonna take a break.
We're gonna take a break and we'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Terrence Wynn, and I am the Executive Director of PIPE, which stands for Priorities, Intentions, and Practical Exchanges. PIPES is an organization that I started after doing 30 years of incarceration in Louisiana State Penitentiary, better known as Angola. I came home with a vision to help those that I had left behind. And there's a lot of guys in Angola that actually are innocent. Most people don't seem to know that or seem to believe that once you're incarcerated, that doesn't mean that you actually committed a crime. Well, PIPES was started to help some of those guys. And being from Shreveport, we didn't have an organization that was actually helping guys get out of prison or helping to show a lot of support to people. It was like Shreveport was a different part of the country instead of being from Louisiana. Whereas being in prison, I often saw guys from New Orleans helping their incarcerated loved ones, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Alexandria. But being so far away from Angola, it was hard. So PIPES, my mission in PIPES was set out to be a voice for Shreveport, for those of the guys that I left behind. So what PIPES sets out to do is to help guys that's coming home not reoffend, to help kids who are on the path or the trajectory of incarceration, to help them see a better way so that they don't go to prison. Because I went to prison at the age of 16 and I did 30 years of incarceration. So I became a man overnight, but I really wasn't a man mentally. And most people don't equate mental or mentality with age. We become old or we become mature through our minds. Our bodies will always age, but mentally some of us will never age. And so I don't want to see kids following my footsteps or those of us who have been incarcerated footsteps as kids. So I do everything in my power to just lead kids on the right path. And I try to tell them a better way to think, a better way to do things, because conflict resolution is a real thing. Once kids know what conflict resolution really is, they don't succumb to peer pressure. And peer pressure leads a kid down a real dark road. And we don't realize that peer pressure is the reason most kids react to certain situations as they do. So Pipes is an organization set out to just be a voice for those incarcerated and for those that we do not want to see incarcerated. So we do what we can. We're involved in our community, and we just try to stay involved in kids' lives so that they can know that if they don't have a father, that, hey, you got father figures here. Because Pipes is made up of formerly incarcerated people, whether male or female. And it's very important for people to know that, man, love plays a real sustaining part to anybody that's incarcerated. We all want to feel love, even in society. But when a person that's incarcerated feels that love, it really changes them. And that's what rehabilitation means. And it should stand for us loving a person enough that they want to change. Because love makes a man change. That's why when he's in a relationship with a woman, you'll see a man change. So it's very important. So those are things that we offer, and we offer real good support, because people coming from prison understand people coming from prison. And we know the path. We know what you have been through, so we can talk to one another openly. So Pipes is geared to helping people. And Pipes has been on the front line. This is our 5th year, and we've been on the front line. So thank you.
Yeah. Judge Stone. Yes, ma'am. I got sentenced to life, 30, 20, and a 10.
Run together.
The life first. Within 2 years, before the 2 years up, I had to come back and get sentenced on the open charge, which was count 2, 3, and 2 more other charges. And they sentenced me to 30, 20, and a 10 on top of the life. But thanks to the grace of God, look, God, everything got vacated. The life got vacated. I'm thinking that the 30 years was going to be gone too, but it wasn't.
Wait, so how did it get vacated? What was
Okay.
technicality?
Technicality was
And I wasn't your judge, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
But as a fourth offender, I use a greater offense,
okay,
which was my first conviction was possession of Schedule 2
okay,
controlled dangerous substance, which got dropped down to simple possession.
okay.
Okay. The DA used it as a greater
Predicate,
offense,
as a predicate
as a
offense.
greater
Right.
offense, which was my first conviction.
Okay,
The second conviction was a convicted felon with firearm.
okay,
I got 10 years on that, which I gave it back in 98 and got it to constructive possession of a firearm. My third one was an aggravated flight. And the fourth charge was the drug charge that I was on.
okay,
And
okay.
I argued that I just meet the criteria to get a life sentence because the charge must carry 10 to 12 years or more for to get the sentence.
Mhm.
And so I argued that this is not right. I got convicted simple possession of
Right,
simple possession, which carries 0 to 5 years as a misdemeanor.
right,
So they used that bag, and then they denied me at first when I went to the district, and I went in to second circuit. Second circuit was like, yes, Mr. Manigault is correct. At this time, we're gonna vacate and remain back for re-sentence. And that's what happened.
wow. So we did it right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is my second time giving time back in the second circuit. My first time giving time back, I went to trial. They said I waived my rights to be tried by a judge. on record show that I never waived my rights because you got to let me hear this. Okay, if I understand that I'm waiving my right to be tried by judge or 12, Mr. Mango, do you understand that you're waiving your rights? That never was brought to my attention.
You weren't born.
I wasn't
So,
organized.
really?
No.
Neither one of my charges.
Because you
Let me ask you something. So what? So I'm assuming that you have a lot of time to prepare your appeals to, in my case, my court, right?
Mhm.
But so I find that a lot of inmates or pro se litigants are really, really smart in how they formulate their arguments. I mean, so do you actually do that yourself?
No, I had this guy named Gerard Edwards that was helping me. Now I can
Is
understand
he alive?
yeah,
He's
rest
alive.
in peace, he died, what, about 2 months ago?
Oh,
Yeah, and I had Richard Byrne as my lawyer, but we mostly did our work in jail. And just whatever I comprehend, I just had him to hook it up, hook the argument up. And we talked about it and put it
so
together.
question, how do I become a better judge in your eyes?
Why don't you answer that first, Mr. Manico?
Mm. Ah, become a better judge of my eyes.
How does she become a
That's what I
better?
said. I should become a better
I
judge.
mean, so let me tell you just how I approach things. First of all, I don't know anybody
Mm,
on so I don't know anybody on the cases that come before me.
mm,
And I like it that way. Um, but I always read the record of the case, no matter how many volumes it is. And we're talking about criminal cases, right?
yeah.
So I read the cases cold. I don't know, and I have really no way of knowing if the person is black, white, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't have any way of knowing race unless, of course, their pictures and that. So most times when you go through the record, um, you're reading it cold, you're taking notes, you're trying to find out, what the issues are, right?
Mm,
And so, but I have a problem. Um, I always put myself in the shoes
yeah.
of not just them, but all the parties involved. Because sometimes, you read a PSI that'll say, that he's the father of 15 children,
Uh-huh.
and that he's working every day to take care of his 15 children, and he hadn't done anything like this before, whatever the charge is. He hadn't done anything like that before. And so, I'm looking at it from all angles. I'm looking at it from the eyes of children. I'm looking at it from the eyes of the white. I'm looking at it at the eyes of society.
Looking at
And I'm looking at what he did. And I'm going, yeah, well, I can see 107 years, maybe.
mm,
And then sometimes I get cases where it's like, how is this 107 years?
yeah.
It just so I'm reading it, but I'm also reading it like a story.
Mm,
It's like, and it's always so many moving parts. And then you got to consider what the law says,
yeah.
because at the end of the day, that's what I'm going to do. I'm blind to all of that stuff, but I'm looking at what the law says. And if something's not, contrary to the law, or if something is clearly outside of the bounds of the law, then you make. I try to make decisions accordingly. But everything I do is with a broad brush of looking at all the moving parts. I don't
Yeah.
look at just
Just the one thing.
yeah, just the one
Look at
thing.
everything, the negative and the positive.
Yeah. I think when you have judges that are like that, I think you have a pretty decent judge. You know,
I had to sit in judge on my case. I know he ain't know nothing about my case.
no, I don't need to hear what it is. La 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 la. I can't hear.
You don't call on that.
Can't hear this.
I think that what you're doing here tonight sets you to being a better judge because
Yeah,
you're not just sitting high looking down low without
yeah,
coming into the masses and hearing how people feel. Because most judges have, and most of us look at judges as being untouched, like they're not a part of society, like they sit apart from everything, so they don't know what's going on, so they just judges. And as black people, we look for the harshest judgment. But when you come into situations like this, and you're willing to sit down with regular people and just have good conversations, that makes you a better person because it opens your mind. Like you say, you look at everything from every perspective. Most judges can't look at it from every perspective because they never wore black skin. So they don't know the struggle or the trauma that we suffer through. So they
I've never worn white skin.
Yes.
But I can tell you that I do have enormous respect for my colleagues because not everybody has to look like me, but I want to know that everybody is willing to listen to two things say. If somebody makes me angry before they make me scared, I'll never be scared. And if you make me scared before you make me angry, I'll never be angry.
Okay.
You get one or the other.
Get one or the other.
Get one or the other.
Can't get both.
You can't get both. You don't
Can't
get
get
both. I can't fear you.
Yeah.
You know, if you tick me off, then I'm definitely not gonna be afraid of you.
I feel
But
that.
if you make me fearful of you, then it just you can't have both.
Be agreed.
You won't be right. You can't be
both of you
you
be
can't
agreed.
right. That's a topic for another day, right there.
Yeah.
Stop the dissing.
Learn to listen.
Like, subscribe, comment. Learn this podcast.